What is up, guys? Thank you so much for being here. So today I'm really excited to finally show you guys my very unique and very customized BCM / down defense build. So let's just get right into it. The entire thing started off of a BCM lower that I got for a really good deal. This is the MK2 lower, and it kind of came pre-built. It's just the lower already built with the pistol grip and the stock and buffer tube and everything. And it came with their recoil mitigation system, which I guess is just like a different recoil spring and maybe buffer weight than what they would normally include. Not only did it have the look that I was going for this build, but it also had the parts that I would have ended up wanting anyways. This is the BCM Gunfighter pistol grip. Got a great texture, comes with a little storage container to put like a little spare part or battery for your optic or whatever, which I actually do use, and I do store a battery in there. And it just has a better angle than a lot of them because it's a little bit more vertical, but not completely. It allows me to really pull it in tight, and I don't feel like I'm, torquing my wrist or anything. So I really like that. Same thing with the stock. It's the Mod 0 from BCM, and I like it because it's a little smaller and more compact, which saves a little bit of weight and works great for me because I'm a smaller guy. Now, before we get into all the little parts that I changed, because I did change almost every part that you can, we'll go ahead and talk about the upper that I ordered. So when I bought this upper, it was a complete BCM upper. The reason that I got it is because, for one, I love BCM. They make great high quality stuff, and it's fairly lightweight. I like the slim handguard. And again, it came Cerakoted in the OD green that I was looking for, so that kind of saves me some time and money. Another advantage to having it already coated from BCM is, for one, it's going to be done super well versus just like maybe your local gun shop that may, even though they're Cerakote certified, it may not be as good as from the factory from BCM. Plus, they would probably end up covering up some of the BCM markings, which I like. The barrel's from Down Defense, and you're probably wondering, if you went ahead and bought a complete BCM upper, how come you didn't just keep the barrel that came with there? Because BCM makes great barrels, and I completely agree. But I had been checking for several weeks, and they didn't have this upper with a chrome-lined barrel. I knew I was gonna do a lot to this gun and make it kind of like my ultimate general purpose rifle. And so I don't wanna have to worry about the barrel going out or starting to fade. And even though they say chrome-lined barrels can sometimes have like a little bit less accuracy, they do tend to last a lot longer and maintain the accuracy that they have, more thousands and thousands of rounds compared to a non-chrome-lined barrel. And if we're being honest, this is just meant for within a few hundred yards, and a chrome-lined barrel from Down Defense is still plenty accurate for what I need. But anyways, it's a 14.5 barrel because I wanted a little bit more compact. It's a little bit easier for me to wield and move around quickly with it. And I switched out the flash suppressor. It was just an A2 that came on there, and I replaced it with a Huxworks flash suppressor, which, I mean, they look really sick. They do a really good job, and also they're threaded to be able to just directly mount their Huxworks cans on there, their suppressors. And seeing how I needed to have the flash suppressor pinned and weld on there so that I could keep the stock, I needed to have it done before I had the barrel installed. Someday, I don't know when, but eventually I'll be able to get a Huxworks suppressor whenever I can afford it. But for now, I got an FDE Huxworks blast baffle. I mean, again, it's just a blast baffle. If you don't know what that is, it basically just makes it so there's a little bit less concussion and noise at the shooter's ear. Now for me, to be honest, I mostly just got it to protect the threads and because it looks awesome. This is only like 100 something bucks, and a suppressor is over $1,000, so it's gonna be a while. And the mount I'm really excited to talk about because I personally don't think I've seen anybody on YouTube review this mount before. It's very good stuff. We'll get to it in a second. We'll get to all the little small parts that I changed because this is where I really made the gun my own. So the BCM upper has all these little holes kind of right across the top here, and it's meant to just kind of save weight, but it also gives it like a design, like this cool look of all these little round holes. Why can't we add that to the rest of this build? And so what I went with is these rail scales. They make different designs. They make some that kind of overlap over and under, but I just wanted these slim ones right here. And as you can see, they have that dimpled look that kind of matches the top of my BCM rail. They're great at what they do as well, which is to provide that extra texture and grip, especially if it's winter and it's cold and this part's just kind of slippery, or maybe your hands are wet, you're shooting in the rain, I don't know. This just really adds a lot of texture, and again, goes with that look. And then since I don't like having a big ol' vertical grip here, but I do like having a hand stop because, as you can see, that provides that little hand stop for me, like this. Or again, if I want it closer. And they call it just an indexer, and it's from a brand called Arasaka. And even though I had never owned anything from them, I knew that their logo was these little like dimples. And so sure enough, I went on their website and I found a nice little short hand stop, which is what I was looking for. And this is made of aluminum as well, like a high grade aluminum. It's pretty lightweight, very sturdy. It's not gonna break off. And again, their logo matches that dimpled look that I'm going for. I know you guys are probably thinking this guy went over the top. But if you see my mag release, it's from a brand called Forward Controls Design, which I personally hadn't heard of prior, but then I was looking into them and they seem to have really good reviews, and all their parts are made of high grade aluminum as well, and so it's not just some cheap plastic thing. They offer a lot of their parts in that dimpled look. That's what they call it. That's not just what I'm calling it. Not only do I have that look on the back of my forward assist, on my mag release, I have it on my ambi mag release, and then my bolt catch / bolt release. So it all kind of goes together with that look that I was going for. Now I couldn't find a dust cover with those exact little dimples, but I did get this one from Strike Industries. It kind of goes with it. It's the closest I could find. And as for my safety selector, I went with the Ambi one from Radiant. Now I will say I was a little disappointed because if you've never installed one, you may not know what I'm talking about, but basically the little spring that's inside, there's like a little tiny plunger that's supposed to move in that, and the sizes just weren't fitting because the spring wasn't allowed to push the plunger back up. It was just too tight. I ended up getting it on there, but it was a pain in the butt. The plunger got stuck in there several times and I had to go find the tiniest tweezers that I could to get it out. My buddy got the same one. He didn't have that issue, so maybe I got the 1 in 100 or 1 in 1,000. I don't know. But it works great now that I did get it installed, and so I'm not really worried about it. But that was, out of everything so far, the only thing that even had like a slight issue was me installing that. Everything else had no problem being installed and hasn't had any issues since. As for the charging handle, I went with the Radiant one as well, and it just kind of came as a combo with the safety selector. So they're both FDE, they both go with the look, and again, it's Radiant, so it's very high quality. Plus I like the kind of skeletonized look that the handles have on there. As you can see, my upper, not only does it no longer have the BCM barrel, it doesn't have the BCM bolt either, or bolt carrier group, because I changed that out, and that I have no problem with. Again, I didn't have a problem with the barrel either. This was just more like me wanting to try something new and something that I heard was a little bit slicker because of the coatings on this bolt carrier group. It's by a company called Sharps. Comes in different finishes, and the coating that's on that bolt carrier group isn't just for looks, although it does look great. Maybe you're shooting all day and you forget to add oil throughout the day. If the gun gets a little bit dry, obviously you want to try and avoid that. But if it does, that finish on there is a little bit slicker, so in the long run, after thousands and thousands of rounds, in theory that's gonna really help with parts wear and kind of help your whole rifle just last a little bit longer. Now as for my optic and irons and the mount, which I'm actually gonna save the mount for last because again, it's one of the parts I'm most excited about. First, my backup sights. They're just these flip-up Troy battle sights. I had on a previous rifle, but then I got rid of those and got these. They're fully adjustable for height and windage in the back. And again, they just have this small little button here, which you just push that and then you can put them down. And you can do it with one hand too. But they lock up great, and the reason I got these ones specifically instead of just throwing my old ones on there, because they're a little bit smaller, like a little shorter. I tend to sit very low on my gun as it is, and so I figured might as well go with the shorter ones because I save a little bit of money, but I also save a little bit of weight. My optic is a Trijicon Credo 1-6. I used to have one of their 1-4 power optics, and it was pretty good. I liked it quite a bit, but I wanted a little bit more reach, and so I ended up getting the 1-6. If you know anything about Trijicon, they make battle-proof optics basically, and even though this isn't an ACOG, it's still very rugged. The glass is obviously crystal clear because that's kind of what they're known for. They have great glass. Now, if you're wondering what all this bungee cord on here is, this is from a brand called 100 Concepts, and they basically just make scope caps. I mean, I think they make other things as well, but that's kind of what they're known for, is their scope caps, because they make really just innovative, easy to use ones. Once you get it set up, you can just kind of flip the caps out of the way. You can kind of wrap them in a way to where they'll stay in whatever direction or side that you want, which I like. And then this front one, it not only has the scope cap, but this little hex pattern like kill flash anti-reflection device. They make it seem like it won't be like visible or won't really obstruct your view, but at least in my experience, it sort of does. I mean, it's not terrible, especially when you're zoomed in at 6 power. You're obviously gonna notice it almost not at all. But at 1 power, it does kind of just muddy up your view a little bit. And it's not a huge deal. And if you were in that situation, it's absolutely very usable. But for the most part, I'll just do this and I have the whole thing out of the way unless I feel like kind of messing with it. And again, this was mostly so I can protect my glass on my scope and have something that would retain it so I'm not like misplacing or losing my scope caps. T-Rex Arms, I mean, they've got a great YouTube channel. They put out tons of great products as well, and so I got this off of their site. I've always just kind of gone with Magpul. Part of the main thing about this build for me, other than just making it cool looking and unique to me for what I like, in addition was to try and make it as lightweight as possible. The Magpul slings tend to be kind of clunky and heavy, and even though they work great and they're super sturdy, I figured why not give one of these T-Rex Arms ones a try. They're super lightweight, they're pretty thin, but they're, you know, just padded enough and wide enough to where it's still very comfortable. Mostly OD green, but then the inside has a little FDE strip down the middle. So not only does the strap look good and match the build, but it's lightweight and it's also very useful and easy to kind of deploy and also use if you have it retained down like this. You can see it's not in your way. You can just use the gun no problem with the strap just completely like in the stowed away position. But then if you did want to deploy it, all you gotta do is pull on this and the whole thing is out. It also has this quick adjustment hook, I guess you could say. That's nice and loose right there. You can see plenty of space to move around. But then if I want to tighten it down to kind of create a little more tension, and the gun just kind of keeps its position. And so that's nice if you're trying to get more stable for like a longer shot, but you're not prone or anything like that. You can just tighten this up and then you create that tension, which just helps kind of drive it into your shoulder. My trigger, it's a Timney trigger, and they honestly make some of the best in the world. They claim that, but I also agree because I've owned a couple of them, and I mean, I haven't shot every trigger out there, but they've always been super reliable for me, and they're very consistent, doesn't have any over travel, clean brake, and this one has a 3-pound brake, so let me go ahead and show you what that looks like. And I haven't even started pushing yet. I'll start to push right now. And then the reset, I let go. I mean, that's a ridiculous trigger. Well, it looks like some of my blue lights went out back there, so I'm gonna wrap this up. I've been saving this mount for last because it's one of the things that I was most excited about. This is from Zero Gravity, and most people haven't heard of them. They're a somewhat newer company. Part of the reason why Scalar Works, which is another company that makes mounts, part of the reason they're so popular and they do so well, people are willing to pay because they innovate with the way that their mounting systems work and also their ability to keep it so lightweight. People are willing to pay money for that. And so this company has come along and they've basically been willing to do the same thing, but with their own way of innovation. And personally, I like it a little bit more because it is slightly cheaper than Scalar Works, which I mean isn't saying much because Scalar Works is very expensive. Scalar Works for the longest time was the lightest mount that you could get when you're talking about like a high-end, you know, strong, sturdy mount. But they came along and this is actually a smidgen lighter, and it's just as strong because they opted to use 7075 T6 aluminum just like Scalar Works, even though a lot of the other even expensive mounts out there use 6061 T6 aluminum. Another thing people like about Scalar Works is that their scope rings only need 2 screws on each ring. Zero Gravity, they've come along and done the same thing, they've just done it in a different way, which also helps with mounting a lot because lots of times when you're mounting your scope, as you go to tighten it, if you're tightening it on one side, it can kind of like torque your scope over a little bit and mess up with how level it is. But these guys basically have a pin on each side of the rings, and those rings just meet in the middle. And so just like Scalar Works, you're only putting 2 screws into each one. Your scope is just resting on there, and it's not resting on any parts that's really moving it out of the way. And so I kind of started looking into it and I was like, man, I mean, why would I not get this over Scalar Works? They offer it in 4 different colors, which is nice. And it's Cerakoted, so it's gonna be very sturdy. And that's one thing about Scalar Works is they're more expensive, and I couldn't find them in any other color than black, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not a big deal. But if I can get something that's just as innovative and just as lightweight and a little cheaper and comes Cerakoted in a color that I like, if you're wanting the best of the best and you're considering Scalar Works, then definitely consider these guys as well. Quick interruption from future me. So obviously I'm gonna put a light on my rifle, but I wanted a really good one, so I kind of had to wait until my birthday to justify the purchase. And it's taken forever to ship, so I'm just posting this video and then I'll update you guys with the final version with the light mounted through like a YouTube short. I just want to say that I'm not sponsored by anything. Nobody sent me this stuff for free. I'm a nobody YouTube reviewer. You know, I've only got a couple thousand subscribers, and so at this point, I'm not known by anybody. I wish I was, so I didn't have to pay for every single one of these parts out of my own pocket. But, you know, I was building my own, kind of my dream general purpose rifle, and this is what I personally decided to choose, and I hope you guys like it. I hope it gives you some ideas. I feel like it's pretty unique, and there's parts on here that not a lot of people know about, and so hopefully it was helpful. If you enjoyed the video, definitely hit the like button. It's a super simple thing you can do. It takes about 1 second, but it makes a huge difference for my channel, so I would highly appreciate that. If you like this kind of content, definitely subscribe. I've got a decent amount of like reviews and builds on my channel already, but I'll be putting out more in the future. I don't know exactly when, because my time's gonna be very busy pretty soon. I've got my second kid coming here in like a month or so. I mean, I've got a 2-year-old right now, so I'm gonna be super busy. But I will be putting out more videos in the future because I do love doing this. But with all that being said, just thanks again for watching till the end, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, this lens is really wide.
Oh my god, how's that even possible? Alright guys, I'm ready. I'm back.
Let's go see if I have any more ammo.
Nope, you have none.
Let's go check.
3, 2, 1. Hey, where's your eye protection?
Oh crap. Look at the table.
You gassed it.